share more information about who you are. But she's a top tier celebrity hairstylist, educator, just the whole nine. Welcome, Kiyah.
Hey everybody. Hey everybody. Thanks for having me. Happy to be a part of this panel with all my amazing friends up here.
Thank you. And the next person that I want to shout out to and welcome is Felicia Leatherwood. She is a guru of textured hair and healthy hair. And I'm obsessed with the Felicia Leatherwood brush, baby. Okay, it detangles like crazy. Let me just get that commercial in real quick. But welcome, Felicia. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Angela, for having me and having me on with all these fabulous other stylists. Like, I feel honored. And you look amazing.
Yes.
Thank you, darling. I appreciate it. You know, I had to come correct. It's a beauty panel. You know what I'm saying? We the first thing we look at is hair and makeup. So, you know, I appreciate the approval. Thank you. The next person that I want to welcome to the stage is a very, very talented hairstylist. And we all saw her work last month at the inauguration when Miss Michelle Obama's hair was bouncing and behaving, swinging, looking amazing. I want to give a warm welcome to Yene Damtew. Did I say your last name right, babe?
Yes, you did. Hi, everyone.
Oh, good. Welcome, welcome. I can't wait to get into your business, girl. So we have one more amazing guest. Last but not least is Mr. Erodney Davis, and he is an agent that represents hair and makeup. So this is perfect panel for you to get on, because so many people ask me all the time, like, how do I get representation? How do I get, so you can answer all those questions. He has his own agency. It's called Basic White Shirt Agency, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Welcome,
Thank you so much.
welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here on this panel with all you lovely ladies. You guys look amazing. And I actually used to represent Kiyah a few years ago. So we have history. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. You know, Kiyah is all about the money. So we know you guys work well together. So I want to just give you guys the opportunity to talk more about who you are, why money and making money is important to you in this industry. And, you know, just tell us more about yourself, basically.
Well, who's gonna start? You want me to start? I'll start.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I am Kiyah Wright. I am originally from Washington, D.C. I moved to New York City, in the early 90s. So I would call myself a bit of a veteran. I was there during what you would call the Diddy years. So I worked with all the bad boy artists, everyone from Faith Evans, Mary J. Blige, Total, on to Maya. I was on tour with Biggie, 112, everybody. And that was like the beginning, first 8 years of my life in New York City. September the 11th happened. Moved to LA, grew my career there. That's where I, moved on to win my Emmys, my Hollywood Beauty Awards, and things like that. And but at the core, I am still a salon hairstylist. I love the salon. Yes. I love the everyday woman. I love touching and feeling hair. That is one of the disadvantages that being a celebrity stylist is. There's so many great things, but something that I love the most still to this day is really still touching, conditioning, and taking care of the everyday woman. So, and makeovers are my thing. So that's
yes.
And
makeovers.
So that's a brief little on me.
Yes. Anyone else? Whoever wants to go.
Felicia, go.
Well, I was so lost in Kiyah's repertoire that I need the question again.
No way. Me and Felicia together, by the way. When I first moved to Los Angeles, Felicia and I was road dogs. We used to hang out like every day. This was when I was in my natural hair days, when I was on tour with Lauren.
Yes.
We was hanging together like every single day, and we worked at the same salon. So that was my road dog, and she has an amazing portfolio. So please tell it.
I'm a bit.
Tell us, please.
I'm kind of conservative. Capricorns, we are like the G in lasagna, so we kind of just move a little silently.
Real chill, real under the
but right now, I think what people really care about for as far as my styling goes is insecure, and so that right there, as it relates to in the last 5 years, has been my claim to fame with the younger generation, and also my generation. So Issa Rae is is my girl. And I read somewhere recently that they found out I created 314 hairstyles on her so far.
Wow.
And so I work with her. I work with Lenny Kravitz, who I absolutely love. He's amazing.
He's so fine.
Client. Amazing guy. He shows me the other side of money and what, you know, just believing in yourself and investing in your dreams look like. And so, and I think Issa gives me that too, because she's a businesswoman. And I know the summit is about all things beauty and business. And so I get the opportunity to learn from my clientele the business side of things and how I want to move forward. So I've worked with them. I've worked with Jill Scott, Tiana Paris, Simone Missick, Ava DuVernay, Anthony Anderson, Will Smith, a whole host of people. I am a natural hairstylist, which means that I deal with textured hair specifically, and I make it my business to know the scalp and the hair. And I have a passion for just really touching the texture, as Kiyah would say, just touching the hair and feeling the hair and letting it speak to me and letting me know about the person and their lifestyle. So that's what I do. And I love it.
I love it. Come on, you ran that down, honey. Talking about you low key with all the high key celebrities, though. Okay, thank you.
So I guess
Who's next?
I'll go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Yene Damtew. I am I guess you could say I'm a celebrity hairstylist and a salon owner based in Arlington, Virginia, originally from Orange County, California, have been in the DC metropolitan area since 2009. Started off as an assistant, assisted for 8 years, which I think is extremely, extremely important for me to share a part of my story, because I think so many of us, my experience as a younger stylist, so many people come out of the industry and just feel like I want to be a celebrity hairstylist, and they don't really understand how much work goes into it and how you have to learn the culture to interact with high profile clients. So assisted for 8 years. I own 2 salons, opened my first salon in 2017, opened my second salon in November of 2020, and building a third salon as we speak. So business is really important to me. I got my bachelor's degree in business management in 2015. And similar to what Kiyah said, I love the everyday woman. I love my client work. As Angela was so kind to say, most people, my claim to fame is working with Mrs. Obama and her family. But I love salon clientele. I love business, and I love connecting. And my goal is to create a more inclusive beauty community where session stylists, celebrity stylists, and salon stylists all have an open forum and dialogue for us to communicate and learn from one another.
Wow, I love that. I love everything you said. Erodney, yes, please share with us.
Yeah, so I'm Erodney Davis, as you said. I am the CEO and founder of Basic White Shirt Management. And funny story for me, I moved to New York in '96. First night here, I met Sam Fine, who, immediately took me under his wing, and I was picking up his dry cleaning and taking books to Iman's house to sign. But I also had a career in advertising. So I'm a former ad exec. So I worked with Sam for about a year as his personal assistant while building my career in advertising, which I ended up doing for about 11 years. I did fashion and beauty advertising, worked on Revlon, worked on Tommy Hilfiger. And so both of those were stepping stones to me eventually opening my own agency. So when I left advertising, Sam asked me to manage him, and he taught me how to do it. So everything I know about managing artists is from an artist's perspective. And I think that is what has set me apart. And there are not many of us in this business who are agents who are people of color. So I'm honored to talk to you guys today. I have a lot of stories and experiences to share when it comes to rates and negotiations and how to set it. So ready to get into that whenever you guys are.
Yes, I love it. Well, you guys are all just extremely accomplished. I'm so happy to be here, and I wanted to get on this panel and talk to you guys because money has always been something that I'm passionate about. But what I found is in our communities, we don't necessarily get those tools to learn how to utilize money in a way that it works for us. and in a way where we can stop working at some point. We don't, a lot of times those ideas aren't passed on to us. So my question for the group, whoever would like to answer first or at all, is what is one of the best money saving or business tips that you have learned over the years that you didn't necessarily get from home, but it's something that really has helped you expand and grow your business?
I can start because I always tell this story. One of my clients who had a very successful esthetician salon in Beverly Hills, older woman, very accomplished, lives very well, and I always looked up to her. And she told me there's two things you need in order to really just survive your life while you are in this industry of beauty. She said, one is you need something that can sustain you when you're sleeping, something that makes money for you when you don't want to work anymore, and that's a product. She said the other thing you need, which is even more important, that cannot be explained by people, but they can only come to you to get it. They feel like you're the only one that can give it to them, and they can't explain it, but they will always come back to you. And that is the essence of who you are. Your brand is your name and how you move through that. And that creates people returning to purchase whatever it is you're selling or speaking about, is the way you represent your brand and the essence of who you are. And that's what draws people into you. And that was the best advice I ever feel like I've gotten, that I remember in my sleep, is that. That's how I've moved and created different products and different businesses, is by that advice.
Yeah.
That's a word.
Can
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think that for me, I'm going to speak more so from the stylist perspective, speaking to the stylists that may be watching or artists that may be watching that don't have high profile clients. And I think that, you know, as you said, I think that as a community, our relationship with money is scarred, and we don't really have the tools or the knowledge on how we should manage our money. And I think the number one thing is, like, we're so used to being a cash and carry business that we try to move through our life as a cash and carry business. But there's a huge importance that you have to build credit. You have to pay taxes, right? Paying taxes is not a bad thing. Paying taxes is a good thing. And I think that the number one thing, one of the things that I like to reference is the pandemic, and when we were being shut down and people were applying for PPP loans and people were applying for assistance. You needed a paper trail and you needed paperwork to qualify for that. So many times we're trying to make sure that we don't pay taxes, that then we were all like, well, we didn't qualify. We didn't get any help. We didn't get any aid. But it's like, we're not paying into the system for us to get the aid, nor do we have the paperwork and the tangible items that we need to get assistance. So kind of just shifting your mindset to thinking that taxes are such a bad thing. You know, play with your numbers, do what you got to do. But the more you play with your numbers to lower your tax liability, it's going to hurt you long run. It's going to be detrimental when you want to open a business and you want to get a business loan, when you want to purchase a car, or when you want to buy a house. You're setting yourself up that you know.
I love that you said that. That is so important. That is, I think when Angela comes back, that talking about that whole loan, people were so confused about that.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Yeah, they were like, get the money and run.
Listen, I'm still confused about it. Still trying to navigate it.
Yeah, I'll jump on that too, just to kind of, while something's going on with Angela's thing, I think I'll just jump right on in there on that one too. For me, it was about, like, it just all changed for me when, actually probably I would say 4 years ago, when I really started really paying attention to my finances. Come on, for years, we make so much money, 6 figures plus, like, but one of the things that really, or very early on, I was always into, okay, I can't just stand here and be a stylist. And it really does piggyback off of what you said, Felicia, too. You need a product, something that you're going to be able to make money while you sleep. And that is, you said it, Yene, was sustainability, or somebody said that. Like, that's a huge, huge thing. And being able to, in COVID, I had 3 major events happen in my career. September 11th was one. Huge. Moving from New York City, I lived on 34th and 9th. So that was major. It shut down the entire industry, entertainment in New York City, because a lot of people were afraid to fly into New York to work and things like that. Like I lived on the street. They were like, evacuate your building. I lived at the corner of 34th and 9th, at the corner of Madison Square Garden. So it was huge. It changed the whole entertainment business. It changed our rates. We were up here with the rates. That was the beginning of them dropping our rates down like half.
Yeah.
Then moving to, actually moving, I'm gonna take it back even further. Me moving to New York City was a huge shift for me too. Moving to New York, then moving from New York to LA, and just all this, just transplanting myself in different cities and having to start over. You know what I mean? Like all of those things really I had to put things in perspective. Like I need other streams of income. And so becoming an ambassador was a huge goal for me, because that's another stream of income. And I've remained being an ambassador for Procter & Gamble for over 13 years, making really good money. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I had to come out with a product line, like you said, Felicia, a couple of years back, so that when COVID happened, I was able to we were out of work for 10 months. 10 months, no work at all. Like LA was not like Washington, D.C., where I realized that other cities were still working. In salons, we weren't. Salons were cut down, chopped out. Beverly Hills was closed, and productions were still really afraid. They just started that back up like the end of last year. Yeah. So for me, it's about diversifying your portfolio, your finances, and just who you are. You know what I mean? Like I became more of the artist too, and the influencer. Like I just had to figure it out, and that was really important to me. So diversifying your whole portfolio is just so important, Yeah.
And if I can jump in with just a couple of quick points. I think, when it comes to making more money, I think half the battle is just having someone that you trust to speak for you.
Yeah.
You as the artist, it's not good for you guys to have the discussions about money and then show up happy, smiling talent when you get to the job. So I think that is the biggest part, and people will expect to pay more when you have someone speaking for an artist, someone representing them. And then the other part is just know what you're saying yes to. So many times we're so happy to get the call. We're like, yes, I'm available. And I have to tell my artists all the time, don't do that, because then you take away my negotiating power. So let's get all of the details of the job before we say yes, so that we can properly quote a rate.
Yeah. That's so true, Rodney, because a lot of artists are representing themselves.
Yes.
Because they want the gig, they want the check, they want the artist, they want the bragging rights, but you haven't even added this whole thing up properly.
Yeah. How many hours am I going to be there? Where is the location? What's the travel? How many models am I going to be working on that day? Or how many heads of hair? I'm
gonna be calling you. I think you're about to be my new mentor.
Call me, babe.
I have a management company where I have hairstylists around the world that do textured hair, and it really just started because I was getting a lot of work, and I didn't want any of the actors to feel like there was no one there for them. Like, okay, well, I called, the Kiyah, I've called Yene, I've called Vernon, I've called these people, Felicia, they're not available. So I need somebody now. So I started texture management as a way to highlight other really talented stylists, and also to give them work so that the artist didn't miss a beat. And it has been quite a challenge. It's been a challenge. It's been about 2 years now. It's been a challenge, and I don't have anyone that I can really talk to about it that knows that side of it. So I'm hoping that you and I can connect.
Let's definitely connect. I mean, there's so much about that goes into accepting a gig, and so many people just don't even think about it, and even, can I be paid the same day? You'd be surprised how many people say yes to that question, but no one asks it. And they think, oh, I'm going to have to wait 30 days, 60 days, 90 days.
And they freak out.
Yeah.
I also think it's really important, like, just to prove your point earlier, like, for me as talent, I think that it's very important for me to let go. And I think that so many of us in this industry are so used to juggling so much that when we do get management, there is that sense of micromanagement where we feel like, well, we reply faster and I could just say yes. Why do we have to think into those things? And some advice that I could give from the talent client side for that has a manager is just trust your manager. You hire them for a reason. And when you let go, your career will completely flourish. Like, I know that I used to negotiate rates for myself that were significantly lower than what my manager, because I don't know what the industry rate is. And your management team generally has multiple clients, and they know they've worked with these companies where they know that they have larger budgets, and they're there advocating for you. Y'all are on the same side. So you just delegate.
I always say setting rates for my clients is about instincts based on experience. You know, so you have to, a good manager will know who they can charge the higher rates to and who they can't, and if who's paying out of pocket. I mean, who's paying? Is the celebrity paying out of pocket? Is the network paying? And then you also know certain networks aren't going to go over a certain threshold. So that's just the kind of thing that, you know, an experienced manager can sort of deal with, that, you know, people who are sort of starting out just won't know, and they get taken advantage of all the time.
I know that Angela's back on. I think Angela's back on. And Angela, I really hope we talk about these rates that are a little different for people of color.
Yes. Well, I want to thank you guys for holding down the conversation.
The audio,
Angela, we can't. Your phone is doing something really weird.
The audio is being
the audio is really shattered. Try now. Try.
Better now.
No.
To unplug it, de Bluetooth it, because it might be still picking up.
You're muted, Angela. I think you're muted.
Oh yeah, she's muted.
Mute. Unmute.
How about now?
Better. Good.
Okay. Thank you guys for holding it down. I want to dial back a little bit for those people who don't have managers and who are new to the freelance game. Where should they set their rates, and how do they find out how to set their rates when they don't have someone as an ally like you, Erodney, or when they don't know what to charge?
Is that a question for me?
Basically,
listen.
A lot of times, and I share what I'm doing, but it varies when you're a newer stylist, when you don't have an expanded book, you haven't worked with a lot of celebrities. Where do you start? Do you start for free? Do you how can you give someone a benchmark of how they should assess what they should be charging?
Well, it's definitely based on your level of experience. I mean, certainly someone who's just starting out in the business can't come in commanding the same kind of rates that the other young ladies on this panel can command, but they had to start somewhere. And if you know, I think for the artists who aren't sure where to start, speaking to a more established artist about, you know, where they are, and maybe adding or subtracting based on your years of experience from there is a good way to start. You know, for me, I always assess when clients come in, and I've been very fortunate in this business, having worked with clients who are already established. So I haven't done a great deal of development of artists. So all of the artists have been like a Sir John, a Kiyah Wright, a Sam Fine, Mila Thomas. But you know, I think it just depends, because sometimes no two deals are the same. And I'm treading very lightly here, because we deal with a lot of, you know, celebrity clients, and a lot of times they will pay out of pocket, and they may not necessarily want to pay what your normal day rate is. And then you have to decide, you know, is this a job that's going to benefit me? Am I going to lose money from this? And if it is going to benefit me, what other doors can it open for me? So it's a really hard question to answer, where you set your rates, because again, no two deals are the same, but you have to place a value on your services, I think, and be willing to walk away when you're being undervalued at some point. Like, you just have to know what your bottom line is on any job. So let's say someone calls and they're like, yeah, I want to book your client to do, for a do and go, and I'm paying out of pocket. Well, most people who are paying out of pocket aren't going to want to spend the kind of money that a network might spend, or, whoever their corporate sponsor is.
Yeah.
So it just depends. I mean, is it $500 for an 8-hour day? If you're starting out in the business, that's probably a good place to start. But the more you gain experience, and unfortunately, a value is placed on who you are and how well known you are in the business too.
Yeah.
So
who you've done, who you've worked with.
And speaking of the racial stuff, I mean, if you are Reese Witherspoon's makeup artist, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have to fight for whatever rate you tell the person is. And you know what I'm saying? So it's just, does anyone else want to jump in here? I feel like I'm
Felicia too, because I was before Angela, I was talking to Erodney, and I was telling him I have a company called Texture Management, and under Texture Management there are 18 hairstylists all over the world that I can put on a client if they're in that state or country. What I get a lot of are stylists who want to break into this side, and they're working for like, I don't know, $50, $100 on somebody like a Cardi B blowing up. Like, they're blowing up, but they're not going to tell the stylist that they can give them more money. And so how you start is kind of how you finish. And when Erodney was talking about, like, a do and go means you're doing the hair. It's going to take you maybe 30 minutes to an hour or 2 hours, and then you're out of there. You made your money. That's it. And what that usually is a lesser rate than an all-day rate or a half-day rate. And so a lot of times coming out of a salon, if you are charging $300, I'm just throwing numbers out, or $500 or $1,000 for a weave or whatever it is, your extensions, double that if you're going outside of that, and then add extra for the time you're missing clients. You're missing how many clients you would miss in that time, your gas, the fact that you got to feed yourself, all of that goes into that rate that you give. So it's okay when someone hits you or sends you an email and asks you for something. Don't freak out. Go, oh man, okay, so they want me to come do such as hair. Okay, let me just tell them. I'll get back to them. Give me a second, and I'll send you all the information you need. And that's how you answer it while you're trying to figure out the negotiations of it. You don't have to give an answer right then, and then pigeonhole yourself. You got questions. You have a right to ask. How long am I going to be there? How many people is Netflix asking me to do in a day? You know what I mean? Are you guys paying for parking? How far do I have to go? Do I have to fly myself to New York? You know what I mean? All this stuff has to be considered, and it's okay to just say, give me 24 hours to get back to you, or put my manager, even if you don't have one, or my agent.
It could be your sister, it could be your cousin,
Exactly.
Yeah. Some great advice I got from a friend was that he just created another email. And it was him, but it was just another email. So he would literally email himself, like, let me loop in my assistant, or let me loop in my manager. And it was just a great way to create a buffer between you and the person, because I do think that entities usually respect the artist more when there is someone managing their money.
It's a form of protection. It is a form of protection, and that's why there are companies like Erodney's and my Texture Management. It's just to protect you. And also, a lot of hairstylists, we move around. We don't really do our invoicing all the time the way we should. So it might be weeks, where you look up, you're like, they ain't got no money. Well, you didn't do your invoice. And that's why representation is also good. It's because we do the paperwork.
I just also want to add in that I think that so many of us as hairstylists get caught up with going to find a manager, because we're like, I'm not giving whatever the percentage rate is. And like Felicia just said, there are benefits. 1, they're negotiating for you. 2, they're making sure that you're getting paid on time. They're making sure that your patients take care. They're making sure that your invoicing is submitted properly and it's directly distributed to your account. So all of those services cost. I think that there's this big misconception, especially with younger stylists, that representation means you're losing money, and you're not losing money because you got to spend money. Like the number one thing I say, you got to spend money to make money. And you can't ask someone to invest in your brand if you're not willing to invest in your brand. And so it's good. Changing your mindset. And I think that one of the other things is like Felicia said, Kiyah said, and Erodney said, it's really important to just take a deep breath. You know, when someone, don't be so eager to respond immediately. Like it's you're not always running. It's not a rat race. And so just say, thank you so much. I would love to discuss this opportunity further. For a budget, and you provide me with such, whatever details that you need, and then you could get back to them with their rate. With your whatever it is. And I like to also say another thing to do when you're thinking about, if you're a younger stylist trying to figure it out, take your service, like when you think about what your day rate is, think about your salon day where you're making the most amount of money, right? The highest service that you can do in an hour, whether it's 90, 150, times it by 8. That's generally how you could come up with your day rate. But just know, opportunities, I just feel like one thing I would love to talk about is editorial rates, because I don't know about y'all, but editorial rates aren't great, and people
have to make me throw the towel in.
Yeah, when editorial rates aren't high,
they're not great.
Things that you do because of exposure, because of experience, just so you could get that tear sheet in your book. And editorial rate may be 150, 250. That's just how it goes.
Vogue pays $250, the biggest magazine in the world.
And 10% agency fee, by the way. 10% agency fee. They don't even give 20% agency fee.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to have these conversations with representatives from these magazines, because this rate has been the same for well more than 10 years. And the economy is not the same.
But guys, editorial magazines are literally extinct. They're going out.
Yeah, they're dying.
But trust me, they're not going up.
The rates aren't going up.
But speaking of going up, I want to ask, how can we create more value within our community as far as how much Black artists are being charged, or how much we're willing to pay each other versus what's going on in the white beauty world? And how can we, bring that gap a bit closer together?
Can I start on this one really quick? I want to just throw something in there too, which I would love to hear you guys' opinion too. I think first, let's just get all the way down to the bottom, to the core. We really need to educate a lot of these younger stylists on their ethics when they show up to the job.
Come on, bring it on home now.
That, like, when I see that, because I mentor a lot of stylists, always email me to work for me and that whole bit. And I've had people work for me for years, like 15 years. And I just think ethically, they're like, who they show up as, sometimes I think we really should just start with that. Yeah. All of that encompasses, your rate, how you charge, who you show up as, how you show up with your kit, how does it look? Are you organized? Are you on time? Are you just trying to get the picture? Are you mad at the talent because they didn't act you in the post? It's just like so much crazy stuff. I think that a lot of these younger artists, first, let's just get things into perspective here. Like, what I mean? We need a list. Like Erodney and Felicia, do you guys give a list to show these artists, who are you showing up as? And here are the rules. This is who you should be.
I have a slightly different experience, Kiyah. I see exactly what you're saying, and I think that I'm probably a little hard on people, but I just don't say much about it. I usually will have them train with me for a few days,
right,
and test it out, and then if it doesn't work for me, not get into it. Give them what I can in those 3 days that they're training with me, but I don't get any farther than that. And so what I noticed though, is that there is somebody for everybody. Mm-hmm. And some of these women that I have not taken into texture management because I didn't feel like it was the right vibe in terms of professionalism and how they show up, have made it quite all right. They have excelled and done their thing. And there are people who will take them like that. So I just realized certain things don't work for me as a businesswoman. Okay. And I will give you what I feel would work in terms of being professional and making your money. But everybody doesn't always take the advice, and they still thrive and do their thing. So I've observed that and been like, okay, well, I guess that just was me. You know,
it must be me too, because I can't handle it at all. And Kiyah Wright, everybody knows she will pull you to the side.
And so there's two folds for it. I think one, I think that amongst the Black culture, cancel culture is huge, right? So people don't always want to educate. We're just kind of like, oh, you done messed up by the opportunity.
Yeah, I don't
the opportunity again, right? So there's that cancel culture mentality where it's just kind of like, we really don't want to. But I think the other part of it for me as a younger stylist, I think that I have seen a lot of people not willing to pass the baton, and not a lot of people willing to create spaces or open doors for other artists. Like, there are generally, we know that I have seen that there are certain artists that I know are going to get booked for certain jobs, for campaigns. And by however they got there, whether it was hard work, whether it was opportunity, you know, however they got there, it's important to bring on somebody to assist. It's important for these stylists to be like, look, I'm looking for an assistant, and be very clear. Like, I just need you to come assist on set with me so you could learn the ropes, right? So you could learn what it's like, and so you could see what it's like. And then I think that there's this part where it's like, again, I'm all for creating an inclusive beauty community, and we have to have these conversations with management, with agents, with brands, with talent, with talent as in the client we're servicing, as well as talent as ourselves, so we know what the playing field is. Because a lot of it is just, we're naive. It's lack of knowledge. It's lack of information. And I don't think that there are places where information is readily available to us. I don't think in hair school, nor if you go to any type of makeup training, that there is any information. And unfortunately, everyone that is teaching technique classes, a lot of these stylists, they're teaching you social media marketing. They're not teaching you business. They're not teaching you how to invoice. And I'm like, I just took a class with a brand, a huge brand. There was a whole day on social media marketing and how to take pictures and what angles. So I understand why people get caught up in like, well, why wasn't I tagged? And then there's artists who say, this isn't a paid event, but we'll tag you. And for a younger stylist, that may be their opportunity to get into the door, that they'll do it for free. A lot of it is, we are the ones who are hurting each other because we don't have a collective price, or we're not all aligned with what we want to charge. And I get it, everyone's experience is different, but we have to kind of have a base price. So they can't say, oh, I called Yene, Yene's too high, I'm gonna call Kiyah. Oh, Kiyah's too high, I'm gonna call Felicia. Oh, one of the three of them are going to give me the best rate.
Or unfortunately do it for free and just throw everything off in the business, mess everybody up. Because that's been a problem too. But just going back to your question, Angela, about, you know, how do we value our artists within our community? I will say, you know, I've been doing this 13 years, that Essence Magazine, BET, those guys have really shown that they value, you know, our I call national treasures, someone like Kiyah Wright, Sam Fine. You know, these guys I've gotten higher editorial rates whenever they've done covers than than most artists would get, because they do value them. BET has paid more money, you know, and has not questioned me on certain rates that I've thrown out, because they have valued these artists and know who they are, versus, you know, an NBC Universal, I'll say, or Fox, you know, who may not even get the gravity of the careers of these people. So I think there is some value within our community of, you know, around who the artists are. It's just,
I like a fluctuating. I don't think there should be a base, because everybody's career is really different. That's just that. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's like, what I've been in this business, over 27 years.
Yeah.
Still relevant. And to me, like, that's what the ultimate goal is. To me, if you want to be a celebrity stylist, it's about how you keep up your relevance, your stature, your who you are representing. Who are you bringing to the table? Who do you represent yourself as? That to me is a celebrity stylist. And how do you want to evolve yourself as a brand? Not just running after the stylist. Like, gone are the days for Kiyah Wright running behind the stylist. I'm so done with that. Like, that, it's not long-term. It's not longevity. I love the celebrities, love them. I'm going to do them as long as I can, as long as it's in me, but there is a cap to it. It is a cap to it. So, you know, you like, if it's not just about like, that's all these young people are about now. They're all about like, which celebrity can I get next? Which one? But my goal was always to be, I want to become the Paul Mitchell of textured hair.
Yes.
I want to be like Paul Mitchell. I want to have products that I can expand and sell to the world. I want to have a masstige brand. That's always been my goal. You know what I mean? Like, not like keep trying to run after the next celebrity, because it's a cap to it. The next new chicks and guys, they're coming out, they're popping. And now all it takes is to be cool with the celebrity, be their friend. It has nothing even to do with how well you do hair. You'll figure that part out along the way. If we're cool, trust me, I've seen stylists get on just because they're cool with the girls. You know?
Yeah, and the talent isn't necessarily there. I wanted to piggyback off something that Yene said in regards to not knowing the rates and not having the information. What I love about Black Beauty Roster and what they're doing is bringing all this awareness and understanding together. So in the future, there's going to be a lot of resources available just on Black Beauty Roster, and it's going to help our younger generation understand what the rates are, understand how they should position themselves, and everything from invoicing and saving money. So I'm super excited to see the future of Black Beauty Roster, and that's why people like you are so important to us, because you can pour in all of that information that you have. Now, moving forward, going back to what Kiyah was saying, which I definitely want to get into this, is diversifying. How do we as artists diversify our streams of income? What's some great tips on doing that? You know, because a lot of African American artists are bootstrapping, you know what I mean? And so it's like, how do you take a little bit over here, take a little bit over here, and then build this and utilize social media to help you make more money than just what the cap is from what your hands can do? Because you're right, there's only so much we can do. You know, it's only so many hours in a day. You can only do X amount of people, but then what? Like, how do we get to making, millions?
Yeah, that was a big thing for me. Like, working with Sam Fine through Erodney too. He was a big mentor of mine. Just wanting to elevate myself as a brand. When I was a younger artist coming up, I studied everything Sam Fine, because he was like the creme de la creme of beauty and beauty professional. He was just proper. He was gorgeous. He was an amazing artist. And that is like my website. I copied his website. I was so excited when I met him. I was like, I want to be that. You know what I mean? I want to be the platform. I want to be a platform artist, and I want to be this, I want to be that. And for me, I was about one, I knew that people loved, what I did as a hairstylist, but then I was like, you know what? I want to take media training, because now I need to diversify this and expand it into more of being, more outspoken as an artist, as a pro artist, Then I was like, let me turn this into being an ambassador, which then turned into another stream of income. Then that was, now I could sell what? My products, because I'm great at sales. Then I was like, now I want to, working with Tyra for 12 years, I learned how to do photography and posing. And, Felicia, you guys know I'm always into all of this stuff. I'm pressed. I'm all bossing people around, pose like this, do like this. I was just into every single area of the beauty industry. And that's how I decided not to jump into 50 different things, but to know my business inside out. Yeah. And try to figure out, how can I make money in every single area? That was my take on it. Yeah.
Yes. That's so real. Did anybody else want to add to that?
For me, again, if y'all can't tell, I'm passionate about business, and I really just my degree, and I've applied my degree to this industry. And I think that one of the things that I did, I do have a high profile client that I work with exclusively. I do have salon. That is a stream of income for me. I retail products. I don't think that a lot of people retail products, whether they're your own products or not. Retail products, y'all, like, I make an additional $1,000 to $2,500 a week off of retailing products. Yes. Nothing at all. Like, people would rather just one-stop shop. So retailing products. And then I have the business coaching mastermind, where I teach the business side of the industry. And I think it's just extremely important to think, whether you want to teach, I teach a class on her own about how to show up on set. Like, you want to be a celebrity hairstylist, you want to do session styling, think of other platforms. There's so many people that are out there, and there's so many ways for us to connect with people. We have to think about ways to connect with people that are not within our physical reach. There's an amazing makeup artist. Her name is Tiana Robinson, and she says she has a thing called the Do, Know, Grow formula. You can make money by what you do, what you know, and what you could grow. So what's in your head, what you physically could do, and what you could sell. So yeah.
Yeah, you're right about that. 40% of your business.
Yeah.
From my perspective, booking artists, one of the ways that I have, is just really embracing digital culture. And, I think now artists can get paid not just from showing up, doing a face or doing hair, but also a social media sponsorship. Yes. So you're getting paid, multiple streams from one job. And, I have a list of all of my contacts in hair care and cosmetics. And I go down that list every single time Mila's working with Nicki Minaj or Niecy Nash, who you got to work with recently, Kiyah, right?
Yeah, I've been working with Niecy before. We actually worked together on that, yes.
Yeah, isn't she like the sweetest person?
So sweet.
I love her. So that's that's like our main thing. Whenever she does something, I'm always like, all right, let me go down the list.
Yes.
And 9 times out of 10, I'm getting like 2 or 3 companies who are interested in, paying for a sponsored post. And as far as me personally, I'm not obviously an artist, but I have, as in trying to figure out others. Sorry, I'm talking all over myself right now. Other streams of income is just doing other things that interest me. So now I'm working on interior design projects, which is something I'm passionate about and have always been. And, doing that in the interim while things have slowed down. But I have noticed, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but their freelance is starting to pick up again, which I'm super excited about because freelance has been super quiet. It's been all about film and TV productions during this last year. So, but we can get back to that because I want to talk about the buckets where I consider rates falling into different buckets.
I know that
we have so much more that I wanted to ask, but you guys dropped so much good information, about diversifying, about knowing what to charge, about keeping that professionalism up to par, about networking, and about building the right team and management. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that everyone got some gems from this. Hopefully you got your notepad because y'all were talking fast. Thank you for holding me down in my little technical glitch. And I really appreciate all you guys' insight. Please stick around with us for the rest of the day. There's so many more amazing panels coming up and I have to go. So thank you once again.
Thank you guys. Felicia, I'm going to DM you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys. Good to see you again.